Hi, everybody. This is Jason Jervis, president of the Alamo Square Neighborhood Association. And today we are coming to you from Mr. Joe Pecora's house as part of our Stories of Alamo Square series. Joe is a legendary member of our community, and we're really excited to be with him today. So we're going to do a quick look around before we get started with our interview. In 1979, Joe bought the Eigeltinger House near Alamo Square. The late 1800s house had become a derelict Victorian and was slated for demolition by the San Francisco Redevelopment Agency. Joe and his neighbors crusaded against the redevelopment agency and saved the neighborhood's cherished Victorian homes from demolition. Today, thanks in part to Joe's efforts, Alamo Square is a renowned historic district, worldwide tourist attraction, and a true San Francisco treasure. Every year, Joe would decorate his home for different holidays, displaying rare antiques and vintage collectibles that he had acquired throughout his life. On the day we interviewed Joe, it was Valentine's Day. We asked Joe to tell us about the rare vintage cards and the collectibles that were carefully displayed around his home. Here's what he had to share.
When they had women on an assembly line putting them together, so most of them are vintage. I have some from the 40s that, we exchanged in school. Look, this is the oldest. Oh my gosh. I just discovered this. This came on. I didn't know. I didn't know that was under there until early 20th century Valentines from Whitney Company. So those are like some of the ones on the table.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jason Jervis, and I'm the president of the Alamo Square Neighborhood Association. And today we are here with neighborhood legend Joe Pecora. Joe has lived in the neighborhood for many years, and he is going to be our first guest for the Stories of Alamo Square series that we're kicking off. So why don't we jump right in? Joe, thank you for being with us today. How long have you lived in the neighborhood?
Since 1979. I believe that's 41 years.
And what brought you to San Francisco?
I was working in the Philippines in the State Department, and I had to decide where to relocate in California. I'm a native Californian. And actually, my mother suggested San Francisco. She thought I'd be comfortable there. So I did. I came to San Francisco. I grew up in LA, but I chose this smaller, more provincial city as my home.
What do you love most about living in the Alamo Square neighborhood?
Well, I think it's changed over a period of years. When I first came here, I was very much attracted to the architecture. So now I enjoy it because it's really, to me, it's the center of the city. Transportation is so good, and it's still a good community. And the Alamo Square Association is still going strong.
What are the biggest changes you've noticed in the neighborhood, good and bad?
Well, the biggest changes are demographic, and which is good. It's a mixed blessing. It's made the neighborhood safer. When I originally came to the neighborhood, you would not walk to the park at night. It's a very marginal neighborhood at that time. But then as middle class families started to move in, there was a healthy diversity. Now it's not middle class families. Unfortunately, it's people that really don't have time for community because their jobs are taking all their time. So, and I think it's unfortunate we don't get to know our newer neighbors. So that is the downside of how far the neighborhood has come.
If you could meet any person, living or dead, who would it be?
If I could meet, and well, one of my heroes was Dag Hammarskjöld,
Hmm.
the head of the UN at the time, and of course he perished in a plane crash. But he was one of those people that had high standards, very civilized man, and my oh, you don't cut this. My other hero is Obama.
Tell us about a defining moment in your life and what you learned.
Actually, one of the defining times in my life was the ability to go to get an education at UCLA, because I came from a small oil town with a junior college of 150 students.
And what town was that?
Taft.
Taft. And in Central Valley?
40 miles west of Bakersfield.
Okay, yeah.
And so 150 students in kind of an oil town.
Mm-hmm.
It was not a diverse community, but I was in heaven once I got to UCLA, because I was majoring in international relations,
Wow.
and I stayed in a co-op where most of the foreign students would stay.
As we concluded our afternoon with Joe, we asked him to share why he decided to join a neighborhood organization and why he remained involved over the years.
As I got involved in the Alamo Square Neighborhood Association, in having a community, because I had traveled so much in my life, I really wanted that feeling of community. And through the Alamo Square Neighborhood Association, I found it.
The impact of Joe Pocora's lifetime of service will live on in the historic homes he helped preserve and the community he helped build through his generosity, kindness, and involvement. Please join us in honoring Joe's lifetime of service by contributing a donation towards the Joe Pocora Memorial Bench in Alamo Square Park, San Francisco.